Hello, welcome back to Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm James Pendleton. I'm joined by Lee Judges. Lee, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you very much. All good, all good.
Good man. We're obviously here to do an opposition view ahead of Everton's trip to the Emirates on Wednesday. I think we'll just dive straight in, Lee. I mean, when we do these normally, we look at thinking about how the other fan thinks about their team. Sometimes it's quite interesting, but I think of Arsenal, it's quite easy, isn't it? It must be all pretty good at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. It is. I have to say, the last couple of games have got us back on track. You looked, if I'll be honest, knocked us off our path. We took a little couple of bumps after that, but I think it's been what's been encouraging is after we lost to Man City, deservedly so. We didn't play well on the day. We've bounced back with two good away results. So and of course now this is the game in hand, so you can sense that we're looking forward to this at home, and a little bit of payback is required. I think, you know what I mean. So there you go.
Absolutely, of course. I mean, you must be delighted of how the season's going. I mean, I didn't. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people didn't quite see Arsenal being were going to be as good as they are. But I say you must be so pleased with how the season's gone because you imagine top four is definitely guaranteed, and obviously all to play for still.
Yeah, that's it. Like obviously at the beginning of the season, if we was looking at top four, but I did feel that we was. I went to the pre-season and I was very, very impressed with the way we was, particularly with the signings. But like as an Arsenal fan, the most that I ask for is a title challenge, and that's what we've got now. Whether we win it or not, that remains to be seen. But it's I've been a little bit envious from across the road, across the park from you. You know what that team there have been challenging for the last couple of years, and Man City, I've been a lot jealous of it. And so to be in it, and every game now is nervous. I'm worried, fearful about tomorrow's game, but in a good way, if you know what I mean. Because like there's something riding on every game for us now. Like when in the past there hasn't been, and there's nothing better than challenging for the title and going to places like we did on Saturday, grinding out a result, and remain top of the league. To be in, I think when was it last day of February today, isn't it? So if we can go, into March top of the league by 5 points, that'd be incredible. So yeah, more than pleased with what's gone on this season. You're going to have a couple of bumps along the way, as you well know, but at this moment in time, can't complain whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even in our position, at least the very baseline, at least all the games mean something. Every game is like
Yeah, yeah,
important.
exactly
It's a
that,
nice
right?
feeling.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even though I wish it was at the other end of the table, obviously. But obviously, I mean, it feels like a very long time ago that Mikel Arteta played for Everton, but he's obviously always going to have a special place in a lot of Everton fans' hearts. What are your thoughts on him and obviously the rebuild he's sort of undertaken at Arsenal?
Well, you've got to tip your hat to him at the end of it. You also got to say like the Arsenal board, whether it was financial or they really genuinely backed him. That you'd have to say that they genuinely backed him. And listen, there've not been some. There's been some difficult times. I think that last season we went to Everton. I think it was on the back of a couple of bad wins, and people were getting on his back a little bit. Like I didn't get on his back then. It was more the season before when I just felt that nothing against Mikel. It was just that we needed someone with more experience. But I'm glad that I've been proven wrong. The board have backed him, and I think with the way that he's gone, with the signings that we've made. You have to say that it's a masterstroke from the ball, and fair play to Mikel. He's done really, really well. I had the pleasure of meeting him a little while back. I think it was last season, and he's an absolute gentleman. So and I think that when you warm to someone like that as well, you want to give him a little bit more time, and hopefully it worked. And yeah, so I've been more impressed with what he's done this season. You've got to add the players. That is true. But when you've got good players like we have, I think that we've overachieved a little bit with the squad we've got. Considering when people turn around and go, "Oh, Madison was missing. That was their best player." Or, we've had our best player missing for nearly 3 months now. So in Jesus, he's been sensational for us, and to keep maintaining what we've done without him, I think you've got to give Mikel all the credit and well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I thought that was going to be a really tough blow to bounce back from, to be fair, when
Yeah,
Jorge Jesus got injured. But no, all credit to Arteta and obviously Nketiah, who's come back in for him. Obviously, you touched on, I saw you, Eric Goodison, actually a couple of weeks ago for Dyche's first game. What have your thoughts sort of been on Everton this season? I know it's a bit strange because we'd taken so long in the season for us to play each other. But what have your sort of
yeah.
thoughts been from afar?
Well, been a little bit annoyed with Everton, if I'll be honest. I'm going to be really honest because I've got a soft spot for Everton for the links with Kevin and everything like that. So and I've always liked Everton, but I've watched them on a few occasions this season and not turn up and not really perform. And then when they played Arsenal in that first game, well, it was incredible. It was, and I thought, well, that's it. They're going to be safe. And then I watched the Merseyside derby. Obviously, I'm going to be cheering on Everton for that. And I was so disappointed with they showed more fire and more desire to beat Arsenal than they did at Liverpool. So I'll cop the hump with you guys for that. But I think you're just going to have enough to survive. I've always felt that going to Goodison Park, the Everton fans have always been very, very vocal, really up for it, even in the dark times. So and I think you just have enough because of that. But I think with the players that you've got, you didn't really perform under Frank Lampard. I think you've got a little bit more organisation and structure at this moment in time. I don't think you're going to be as open as you were with Frank. But I think Sean Dyche is a very, very good manager, and maybe like the style of play probably won't suit every Evertonian. But at the minute, it's not about that. It's about getting the results. And I do hope that. I hope that you do survive, and but I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be tough, and you've got to, really rely on that home form, and you supporters have got to get behind the team, and I'm pretty sure you will do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you ain't alone in terms of being annoyed about how Everton played at Anfield, that is for sure. But there's plenty to pick from. Who would you say has been Arsenal's best player this season? I know you touched on
Oh,
Jesus there, but there's probably a dozen to pick from, isn't there? I'd say.
yeah, yeah. That's been the greatest thing with Arsenal. Do you know what? We've only played bad in one game. One game we've played really bad, and that was Everton. The other games we've played, we might have lost, but we've been in it and whatever. But really didn't deserve to get anything from the game against Everton. And couldn't pick anyone from that game. But during the season, I think Ben White's been outstanding this season. I think he goes under the radar. Saliba and Gabriel get a lot of publicity from everything there. Shinchenko's been brilliant. You go into the midfield, Thomas Partey when he's been playing has probably been the pick when he's been fit, I would say. But then you go, I forgot Saka. You know what I mean? And I have to say that not just for Arsenal but for England as well, he's been brilliant. So I'll probably say during the whole season, Martinelli's had a fantastic time as well. If you was to say that who's going to be the star man for me this season, I would probably say Saka. I think been consistently good all over the season, and he's a wonderful, wonderful player to watch. And I'm not being biased when I say that. I think that he is. He's just that little bit special. He's just got that little bit more than everybody else in the Arsenal team. But as you say, the performances this season have been great. But yeah, I'm just gonna stick my neck out slightly and just go with Saka.
Yeah, I mean, he is fantastic. Absolutely spoiled for choice, as you say, as well.
Yeah.
Is there anyone, maybe not say in the first 11, because I think that is quite strong, was there anyone who has maybe disappointed you a little bit, or if he does play on Wednesday, you'd be a little bit wary of Everton taking advantage of him, or do you think the squad as a whole has just been
Do you
at
know?
least 7
Do
out
you
of 10?
know? That's a great point, because you're only as strong as your weakest player, aren't you? I don't think Arsenal 11 is got a weak player. If you would, Ramsdale can do something a little bit dodgy every now, a bit like Pickford, but when on his day, he's up there with one of the best goalkeepers in the country. So I feel that like the one time that I felt that we were weak was when, funny enough, Calvert-Lewin played with a big, strong centre forward up top, and I felt we struggled with that. And then, of course, then the following week we had Tony, and then we had Haaland. So I think that we struggled on that. We seem to come to terms with it. So I think a little bit maybe just not individually, but as a collective, our defence against a big, strong centre forward has been a little bit of a weakness to us. But I understand that Calvert-Lewin's not fit for this one, so that's a bonus for us.
Yeah, massive for Arsenal. That I think, as you say, to be fair, there's no one I'd pick out really. Certainly not in the first sort of 14, 15 players. Is there anyone at Everton taking Calvert-Lewin's injury into account who you are particularly worried about? Because I think, again, when you spoil for choice with Arsenal players, you're probably the opposite when it comes to Everton danger men.
Yeah, I'm wary of Everton because the physical presence that they've got. The midfield, I think is going to be key. If Thomas Partey not playing, it means we've got Jorginho in there, who's very, very good. But your guys are very, very physical in there. So I like when you go back to that Everton game at home, I'm going, well, he was brilliant. So they all played really well. But I'm not going to lie, I've got a soft spot for Iwobi. I've got to say that. I think that he's been the games that I've seen for Everton this season. I really thought he's been one of the better players, and he's just gone out wide now. He does give the ball away a little bit easy at times, a bit cheaply at times, but that's maybe why Sean Dyche has still kept him in the side but put him out wide. But yeah, I think Iwobi, I've got a little soft spot for him, so I like McNeil as well. Not quite done it for Everton as much as what I thought, but when he was at Burnley, he was a good player as well. So your wide players are good. Listen, you've got two war horses of central defenders. You know what I mean? Like they're going to put their body on the line for you week in, week out. So I think that defensively you're very, very strong. That's where I see with Everton. I think that eventually you're going to have to tinker a little bit in the forward areas. But you know what? I don't know how you feel about it, but if Calvert-Lewin was fit and properly fit, do you know what I mean? I think Everton are more than a match for a lot of teams in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, I think most Everton fans think we probably would have won the game on Saturday against Aston Villa if he was playing, to be fair. So, and again, I think we'd all be a lot more confident going into pretty much any game this season, in fairness. But back to Arsenal then, what do you think is going to be the sort of starting 11? Because I think, again, largely 9 or 10 players pick themselves, don't they?
Yeah, I just think that it'd be really interesting, tomorrow to see what starting lineup he does, particularly with the front three, because I thought the front three played really well on Saturday, but they didn't really create a lot of chances. I know that sounds silly, they played well, but they didn't really create a lot of chances. But we kept the ball, moved it around really, really well. We kept a lot of possession. We had a lot of control in the game. So Eddie's more of a poacher, but I feel when you're playing against players like Cody and Swarovski, I think you've got to move them around a little bit. Physically, I think, if Eddie plays up there, I think it's food and drink to them. So I think that we'll go with the three, with Trossard just dropping in there and just trying to take your two central defenders out of areas they don't want to go into. So that'd be interesting. I just think, I'm going to say it now, I think Jorginho's done enough to just keep his place in this team, especially when Mikel has said that maybe Thomas needs a couple more training sessions. So I think it'd be the same team that started against Leicester.
Right, yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, I think, to be fair, most Everton fans would probably be happy enough if Thomas Partey wasn't playing, a bit like yourself with Calvert-Lewin, to be fair. But Jorginho, obviously, it's a very different kind of player, but a good replacement, obviously. What do you think will be the final score then, given what we're talking about, Lee?
Do you know what? I think I'm going to say this now. Arsenal have got to score early. We've got to not encourage you. I felt that even if we didn't play that well at Goodison Park, we had a first spell in the first 10, 15 minutes when we looked okay, and then you got to grips with us. I think that if we need to score early. If we don't, I think it's going to be a real tense game, maybe 1-0. But I just think if we get that early goal, I think that we'll win 2-0. Like, that's what I'm thinking. And that's what I'm hoping, So this is so important that Arsenal get these 3 points. And what makes this game very, very intriguing is that I think Everton need the points as well. I think. I know like Everton fans and that they were probably thinking that get 3 points against Aston Villa and lose to Arsenal, they would have probably said that was right. But now losing to Villa puts a little bit more pressure on you guys. So. I think you're going to be tough to break down. I really do. I think that, and I think I don't know how you feel, James, but if you got a point at the Emirates, I think you'd be very, very pleased with it. So it's going to be a difficult game for us, but I just think the home advantage is a big thing for this one.
Yeah, I think every Everton fan would take a point now, absolutely for certain. Just finally, then, Leon, on the game and the season as a whole. You've obviously seen Arsenal win the league before. Do you think they'll do it again this year, or are you still not quite sure yet?
Do you know what? I think we've got all the ingredients to. I see similarities than when we won the league before in this team. But, and it is a big but, I haven't seen an animal quite like Manchester City before when we've taken titles. Now, when we've gone against Man United, I don't think. Probably Henry, Nistelrooy, maybe Henry had the edge, maybe, but not by a lot. But I think Haaland is just something, incredible, So, and they've got very, very good players. So, listen, for me, the deeper they go into the Champions League, the better for us. I'm gonna. I think our next 2 or 3 games. I know, like this game in hand is very, very important. If we don't beat you guys, then I think maybe we'll come up short in the title. But if we can get that 5-point buffer again going into the final part of the season, it makes a lot of difference. They know that they can't make another mistake, and if they were to make a mistake, we could be like 8 points in front of them. So I think it's the next couple of games will tell me. I know that sounds silly because our next couple are against you and Bournemouth, and as it stands at the moment, both in the relegation zone. If you don't beat teams like that, then you're going to have doubts. So I think it's very, very important that we maybe not take you to the sword, but like just get over the line in these couple of games. And if we get the 6 points in these next 2 games, I feel fairly confident. Not fairly confident, that's a bit harsh, but I feel we've got a very, very good chance.
Absolutely. I certainly hope you win that game against Bournemouth anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do, so if we can help you out along the way, we will do. I can tell you that now.
Absolutely. Just to finish off then, Lee, we always end on a random question. What would you say has been your favourite encounter with a former Arsenal player or manager or anyone of that ilk?
Oh, listen, I've been very, very fortunate. Obviously, like Kevin Campbell's a very good friend, and I know that he's got a very, very soft spot for. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the best encounter I've had. I'm going to say it. Why not? It's Everton related, I suppose. Is that I had to meet Kevin after a game a couple of years ago. He was working on the TV, and I went up to the game. Coming out of Goodison Park, I met him at the media place, which is opposite the pub there.
Yeah.
Anyway, he come out. It took us about 45 minutes to get to the car. You know what I mean? We was absolutely mobbed by Evertonians. You know what I mean? We just couldn't walk down the road. So that was a great, knowing that he's your mate and everything, and seeing the love for someone like that. So that was a very, very good experience. And from just an Arsenal player without Everton connections. I've been fortunate over the last year to have met Liam Brady a couple of times. When I was growing up, he was the man, and to meet him and spend a bit of time with him has been special as well. So they're the 2 at this moment in time.
Brilliant. Nice one. Much appreciated for that then, Lee. So that is all for our opposition view. I say thanks so much for joining us there, Lee. And obviously,
no problems.
Check out the game on Wednesday, see how both teams get on, and make sure to like and subscribe and let us know how you think it's going to go. Thank you very much.
No worries, and good luck for the end of the season. I hope you do survive. I mean that sincerely. I'm sure you will, but obviously after Wednesday.
Of course.